might see the Zulu Queen. Let's hear it, Brett. New Orleans.
Well, we don't have any young people here this morning with us, so I don't exactly know what to do with my picture book here. Save it for another day. I'll lead into this a little later on, but your comments lead me to make one thing here about yeah, this doesn't necessarily have to be about Lent, about sacrifice and Lent, and the idea of it being about celebration, which is why I had said to Phil that, you know, it would be nice if they came, even if it does after Fat Tuesday, because we can still celebrate. So I agree with you that I hope I don't offend the Catholics, or former Catholics, or whatever. I don't know what to do next, so let's play some more music.
We have plenty of music to play. This song, Alan Toussaint is one of the great piano players from New Orleans, songwriters and piano players. And this is as Unitarian a song as you're ever going to find. I've played it at several Unitarian churches. I don't know if I've played it here or not. But We Are All Connected is the name of the song by Alan Toussaint.
We
Thanks. This is a time when I'd like to invite anyone who would like to come up and light a candle and perhaps share some of the joys and concerns that are going on in your life. I'll light this first candle. Of course, for all the drivers out there, I hope they get home safely today. We were actually down in Washington yesterday, had lunch with our daughter, and it took us 3.5 hours to drive back from Washington because we drove slowly and carefully, but we saw a lot of people just all over the place, paying no attention, and just, it was I thought it was a miracle we didn't see any major accidents, and even on driving down this morning, we saw several cars off on the side of the road. People just don't drive very safely sometimes, and I was just saying to Rob earlier, when we're out there today, we have to drive for two. We have to drive for ourselves and for the others that are there with us, so be safe.
We just got news yesterday that a friend who's been waiting for the opportunity to move down here again finally had been postponing and postponing and postponing because the apartments weren't ready, and then something else happened and something else happened. He finally gets to uncancel everything and get moved down here very quickly, hopefully.
Right after the ice melts.
Right.
I have a joy. After we leave here, Riley is going to be performing with his class at the Chinese New Year celebration at DSU today. So I'm excited to watch him perform.
What's he going to do?
They're singing songs in Chinese.
Wow. So he's fluent in Chinese.
Our family is on baby watch. We have our daughter April and her partner, our daughter Lauren and her partner April are expecting twin boys any day now. So we're the second call on the list. First one goes to her sister who lives locally that will pick up our 20-month-old granddaughter, and then the second call comes to us. We go down and take care of the dogs. So anyway, grandparenthood.
Congrats.
Can't produce grand doggies, can we? This candle is of joy and kind of exciting. On Thursday, Kate and I signed a contract to go to Solar Electric, and we're really excited about that.
Well, keep us informed on how that goes. You know?
This isn't exactly a personal thing, but I read an article in Truth Out, which is an alternative online newspaper about addictions, and kind of an alternate theory about addictions, that it's feeling isolated. And so I was interested to hear that We Are All Connected song and think about how feeling connected can really be sort of like a vaccine or a protection against getting addicted to things, possibly.
You're going to tell us how good Lee was this week.
I wish I could. I mean, he shouldn't have started, because 2 nights ago, the coldest night of the year, I was like, I am so cold that I thought it doesn't even feel like there's any heat in the house. So I went to check the furnace, and it was off. The switch was off. I'm like, what? I said, honey, did you turn the switch off? And he goes, oh, I don't know. I thought I don't know. I'm like, it was like, it was so cold. Anyways, that wasn't what I. It's your fault.
I'm sorry.
All right, sorry. This is sort of a joy and a little sorrow, but today my mother would have been 87, and I just wanted to celebrate her because they didn't have a Unitarian church where we grew up, a very tiny town, but if we had, she would have been one. She was such a liberal, feminist sort of person, way beyond her time for that time period. So I just wanted to do a little celebration. She started to come here before she got sick, and she really enjoyed it while she was here.
This candle is in great appreciation for the wonderful music we have today. As you were singing about Canal Street and all, I was remembering the cooking school that we had been to in New Orleans. New Orleans, we've been there several times, and our son was asking us why we go to New Orleans, and I said, because of the food. Outstanding food. I light this candle for all those joys and concerns that we hold in our hearts. Let's take a moment of silence to share our prayers, our healing thoughts, and offer our thanksgiving. May this time we spend here together remind us of the values that give our lives purpose, offer us comfort, inspire us. May we be reminded of all of our wishes and desires, as well as the blessings we receive. May we be reminded of the potential that rests within our own hearts and our own hands to share ourselves with others, that they too may receive blessings, joy, and comfort. May we be reminded of our shared humanity, that we can be sympathetic and compassionate. May we be reminded of all the joys and delights that we have received and wish them on others as well. May we be reminded that we are all too human, and that this is a time of reflection and self-awareness, that we can fulfill that possibility. So may it be. The offertory is a time when we have an opportunity to make payments on our pledges, make donations and contributions to the spiritual community. I'll start the basket over here, and if we can pass it to the back, and then across, and then back to the front along this side. And we'll have some more joyful music.
I don't think this song is going to need much introduction. I know I'm not wrong. covered vines, the tall sugar pines, where mockingbirds used to sing. And I'd like to see that lazy Mississippi hurrying in the spring. Moonlight on the bow, a Creole tune that fills the air. I dream about magnolias in June, and I'm wishing that I was there. Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans? 'Cause that's where you left your heart. And there's something more, I miss the one I care for more than I miss New Orleans. Moonlight on the bow, a Creole tune that fills the air. I dream about magnolias in June, and I'm wishing that I was there. Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans? 'Cause that's where you left your heart. There's something more, I miss the one I care for more than I miss New Orleans.
I found another reading, this one from C.S. Lewis, that I felt might be appropriate to today. It is a serious thing to live in a society of possible gods and goddesses. To remember that the dullest and most uninteresting person you can talk to may one day be a creature which, if you saw it now, you would be strongly tempted to worship. Or else a horror and a corruption such as you now meet, if at all, only in your nightmares. All day long we are, in some degree, helping each other to one or the other of these destinations. It is in the light of these overwhelming possibilities, it is with the awe and the circumspection proper to them that we should conduct all of our dealings with one another, all friendships, all loves, all play, and all politics. There are no ordinary people. You never talked to a mere mortal. Nations, cultures, arts, civilizations, these are mortal, and their life is to ours as the life of a gnat. But it is immortals whom we joke with, work with, marry, snub, and exploit. Immortal horrors and everlasting splendors. This does not mean that we are to be perpetually solemn. We must play, but our merriment must be of that kind, and is, in fact, the merriest kind, when it exists between people who have from the outset taken each other seriously. No flippancy, no superiority, no presumption. And our charity must be a real and costly love with deep feeling for the sins in spite of which we love the sinner. No mere tolerance or indulgence which parodies love as flippancy parodies merriment. next to the blessed sacrament itself, your neighbor is the holiest object present to your senses. If he is your Christian neighbor, he is holy almost in the same way, for he is himself also Christ living ever after. I really enjoyed that because although I don't necessarily believe in Christian doctrine, I don't believe in Christ the Savior, but I like this notion that the person you're sitting next to is an immortal, is a god or a goddess, is someone who 2,000 years from now might be worshipped as the, yeah, evenly, I know. You are all suffering. I am. What must it be like to live with her? No. This whole notion then of Lent as being this anticipation and expectation. I mean, Easter is one of the two great Christian holidays. Leading up to Christmas, of course, we have Advent, which is a time of reflection and preparation and anticipation. And that's what Lent is too. But I don't think we spend as much time in the stores, so I don't know that we think of it the same way. But Lent is supposed to be a time of reflection and anticipation, 40 days, leading up to Easter, which is huge. And so Lent is a practice. It's an opportunity when we are invited to give up something, to use that act of will that, I need to turn this down a little, I think. This act of will that St. Augustine is talking about, something that sometimes requires us to set aside the habits of our lives, the familiar patterns, and to live out the values and the expectations that we sometimes have. And in that sense, it's a challenge to everyone, no matter what our personal religious tradition might be, and what our beliefs might be, and what our traditions are. So I was thinking a lot about Lent, and I can remember as a kid, it's being explained to me by one of my friends, that Lent was a time when you had to give up something. And I said, well, like what? Like he was explaining, he said, well, you have to give up chocolate. And I said, well, why would you give up chocolate? Why don't you give up something like artichokes? I mean, I was a Unitarian, a rationalist. I said, let me give up artichokes for 40 days. But I missed the point, of course, and we all do. So what is it about Lent that we can use as a spiritual practice, as a spiritual discipline, as something that we can take on and do? What is it that we would want to give up? And I was thinking more and more about that, and the story that I had for all ages touches on this a little bit, recognizing that there are so many things that we often feel are missing in our lives already, the things that we yearn for, the things that we want. And I don't mean necessarily the material things, but comfort, peace, balance, joy, whatever those things are that are in our lives. And I was thinking, well, maybe what our spiritual practice wouldn't be necessarily what we give up for Lent, but what we take on for Lent. What would I spend these next 35 days of expectation and reflection doing? Which is why I like C.S. Lewis's comments there. What if for the next 35 days I really stopped to think about my neighbors, the people that I sit next to at work, the people in my home, the people on the roads, the people I encounter in my daily travels, the people that I experience each and every day when I can become so impatient with. And yet if during these next 35 days I were to think, yes, but I want more peace and gentleness and kindness in my life and in the world around me. So I'm going to spend the next 35 days being conscious of that. Let me give up my impatience then. Let me give up my insecurities then. And let me take on the values that I cherish so much. and share them with other people. In that way, then, Lent can become a meaningful spiritual practice for me. It can be a time when I can expect to see a new beginning, to see a joyful experience, to see the way the world can change and become something else. And I was reflecting on the notion that if I could manage to do that for 35 days, maybe I could stretch it up to 36 and 7. So it doesn't necessarily become a spiritual practice focused on Easter, but it becomes an opportunity for me to more intentionally and deliberately take the act of will and live it out in my life into the future. So aside from giving up artichokes for Lent this year, I decided that I want to be a new and a different kind of person. I want to be continually more deliberate and intentional about the way I am with people, considering that the person that I'm sitting next to might actually be Jesus Christ, might actually be that important, might actually be that kind and generous, might be worthy of our worship, not just my tolerance. I don't have to just put up with this person, but what if I truly worship this person? Not necessarily as a god or a goddess, but as a fellow human being. If I were to decide to look at them and understand that, you know, they can be just as impatient, angry, uncomfortable, irritated, disappointed as I sometimes are. And they can be just as full of joy and life and delight as I also, hopefully, sometimes are. And then we can share something that's a deeper bond, and not just be fellow companions, but, quote, more connected with each other and be more aware of that connection. So that's my proposal, essentially, and I'm going to keep it short because I want to hear what you might have to say about that. This notion that we too are invited during these 40 days of Lent to look at our lives, to look at what we are looking forward to reflect on what we are anticipating that's going to come along in our life, and how we can further prepare ourselves and be willing to help create that which we anticipate. So I want to hear what you have to say on that notion. What would you not give up, but take on for Lent? I know, it's too quick a question.
I remember a sermon you gave, I don't know when it was, but about waking up in the morning and sitting out on the porch with your cat and, you know, starting the day that way with just thinking of how you want your day to go and things like that. And after that, I did it for a couple of days, and it really worked. Like, it was really, I felt better. I wasn't as grouchy or grumpy, and nothing Lee did bothered me, and, you know, it was wonderful. And I'm just thinking, you know, I'm going to try to make an effort to do that every day. I think that's a great way to do it, because it did work, and then again, you just forget again. But this, like, really make a concerted effort to do that.
This is really interesting to take something on. I have a coworker who is going to retire at the end of March that I've known for 12 years. That's a long time to be working side by side with somebody, and I'm really jealous that she's leaving before I am. And she's been somewhat difficult, but now she's kind of turned around and become a very pleasant individual. And she knows she's leaving. And I think it's somebody that I might even want to continue to have a friendship with after she leaves. But I'm going to try to treat her really special this next month.
As you were saying that, I was thinking, this isn't what you were saying, but what I was thinking was, I can remember working with some people who, when they were leaving, it was like I was so glad they were leaving. Absolutely. This is my story. similar to you. You're a kinder person than I am. And I was thinking, and how many of us have ever done that? We work with people that we just want to get rid of. And I was thinking, but that's exactly the kind of story that we can look at and say, what's going on in this person's head? How are they feeling about this? And do I want to celebrate that this person is gone, or do I want to help that person make that transition? Do I want to be human in spite of the fact that I may not have been thinking that this person is human? But in actuality, they are. And how can I be different about it? And I like what you said, it's the kind of person, if you stop and think about it, you might actually want to know later. Whoa, that's a scary thought.
First, a quick joke that I heard once. I decided to give up my New Year's resolutions for Lent. Forget that. This is a little radical, but what if I tried to be kinder to my cat? I have allergies, so I never touch her, and she understands that. So whenever she wants affection, she runs up to my wife. But what could I do to make a better relationship with the other living thing in our house?
That might be an extreme example, but that's good. I mean, what are all of the things that we're not doing that we could do? Like Claritin,
We've been having some plumbing problems in our house, and on Friday, the plumbing problem that Tom thought he'd fixed broke while he was while we were both away from the house, and so there's a lot of our stuff in the basement that we should have gotten rid of and gone through that's sodden. And so I'm thinking that over the next month, maybe we should try to go through some of the things in the basement and get rid of the things that we should have, have just occupied the corners out of our mind. Like I pulled up a pair of like overalls that were fit someone about 9 or 10. Don't think there's any point in holding on to those now that they're wet, especially. So I pledged to try to really get serious about getting rid of some of that stuff in the basement for the next 30 days.
And Tom, you have to be patient. That's a hard thing to do. How many of you need to go through your basements and get rid of stuff? I mean, everybody has to move every 5 or 6 years just to help with that process. But it's hard because you're absolutely right. We keep things, not in a bad way, but just because they're too good to get rid of. I mean, there ought to be some reason, and unless we could find some place to put them, we just kind of put them aside. Our basement gets full of stuff too. But I don't have water in my basement.
One other thing was that serendipitously the shelter for for people when homeless people when it's super cold is asking for towels. There are a lot of gently used towels in this pile, and so that it just seems to me like this is the time to gift all of those towels to the shelter and some of the other things that they might need there.
So that's a great spiritual practice in it.
I grew up observing Lent. We never called it celebrating because you're not allowed to be happy during Lent. And even after I was sort of mostly done with Catholicism, I still kept that up because I thought it makes me a better person, and it's sort of been a check-in on my New Year's resolution to me, and I've sort of molded it a lot of the way you've said, where taking on something else, and I might not give up chocolate, have done that, but just thinking about something that I could do to make myself a better person. If I give up a vice, it's to remind myself that it does not control me. I'm showing myself I don't need to log on to Facebook every day after work.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's not what I'm doing this year, maybe next year. And this year what I've decided I want to do is try to be more patient with my family. So I am so much more patient and accepting and able to roll with it more with the kids and the adults at school than I am with my own husband and son.
You use it up there.
I do. And so I decided that what I want to do is sort of give up yelling at home and that thing Sean calls yelling, but I know is nowhere near the decibel that I consider yelling.
To be more patient, more kind, more understanding, we could all manage to do that. And I was saying this is a spiritual discipline because, you know, a lot of times we think of it as spiritual if it has something to do with gods and goddesses, but I think it's a spiritual discipline if it helps us be more ourselves and enriches our lives so that we can live a more spiritual life, a more aware life, a life more in tune with the values that we say we want to engender and live through. And yet sometimes our daily living just gets in the way of that. Co-workers and family and kids and cats, and they just get so irritating. And Lee, it just gets so you have broad shoulders. You are my idol. I want to be more like Lee. Except I don't ski.
I think I could be a little bit more like Lee myself, actually. Some years ago, I had a co-worker who drove me absolutely bonkers. She was a religious fanatic, and she knew everything about everything. I wasn't afraid to tell me. And I got really seriously upset with working with her. And Kate knows I got a bit of a temper. And she's being generous by not smacking me. But I was ready to lose it with her one time, and I just said, okay, I'm too angry, I'm too hot in the collar, I'm going to go take a walk and calm down before I come back and yell at her. And in my walk around the building, about the third lap around Modern Maturity Center, it hit me like the two before up alongside the head. She's doing the same kind of stuff to me that I have done and occasionally still do to other people. And I didn't want to hear that. And when I went back inside, I apologized to her for being such a jerk. And I thanked her for opening me up to an insight into myself that I hadn't wanted to see. And it set me on a discipline to try and look at other people and say, you know, if I can see a problem with them, how much of that problem is there in myself? And what am I going to do about it? And it's been a long, slow, frustrating, uphill, downhill. I feel like it's mostly downhill, but it is actually uphill trip for me. And I really do have to thank her for getting me, letting me get myself so upset to be able to look at that.
Thanks, Bob. It reminds me of the notion that there's two sides to all of this stuff. You know, if I'm impatient with somebody, then the positive side of that is to be more patient. If I'm angry with somebody, then the positive side of that is to give up anger. So I guess the paradox here is that if I'm going to give up anger for Lent, that is one effort. But if I'm going to take on being more loving and kind and gentle, that's a different thing. And one is moving away from something, and one is moving towards something. And I can't help that thinking that moving towards something might actually be more mobilizing and engaging than trying to give up something. That if I have a positive stance about what I'm trying to accomplish and going towards is conceivably going to be, I don't know, maybe just as hard, but certainly more rewarding than giving up something and feeling like I'm doing without something. So this Lent, I invite you to think about what you want to move towards, what you want to embrace, what you want to take on in your life, and how that can be contiguous with who you are and make you a happier, more balanced, and kinder and gentler person. Any comments from the band? I knew you would. I will. You're right there with Lee.
I can relate, Lee.
Second most
Greg, I thought it'd be good if we gave up sweets for Lent. No more donuts, no more cakes, no more cookies. But since we kind of missed the start of it, maybe we'll do it next year.
Didn't mean to put pressure on. Let us join in extinguishing our chalice, the words of there in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now we're going to have some more music. You can join for coffee in the back, or sit and listen, or stand up and dance, or tap your foot.
We usually end with a little medley of songs that we don't play so often down in Louisiana, but everybody knows them, and everybody usually wants to hear them. So that's what we're going to end with. We're also, after this, you're welcome to go ahead and get your coffee. 5 songs is just really getting warmed up for us. I mean, it's like halfway through the first set, so we're just getting warmed up. We'll play 2 or 3 more if that's okay. And while you're having coffee and hanging around, you're welcome to dance a little bit if you want to. I have some cards over there on the piano bench and an email list if you're interested. I send out an email about once a month to let my fans know where we're playing, the Alligators, and I'm also in the Pam Ortiz Band, which some of you know of, where we're playing.
Can we clap for you now?
Will that get us paid? Be my guest. Goodbye, Joe, we gotta go, me oh my oh. We gotta go for my hero down by me. My Yvonne, sweet as one, me oh my oh. Son of a gun gonna have big fun all about. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. For tonight I'm gonna see my share of meal. Pick guitars, fill fruit jars, and be gay. Son of a gun gonna have big fun all about. How about it, friends? By the dozen. Let's stop, go ball wild, me oh my oh. Son of a gun, gonna have big fun all the time. Yeah, jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. For tonight I'm gonna see my share of meal. Pick guitars, fill fruit jars, and the I'm gonna have big fun on the Bible. Yeah, son of a gun, gonna have big fun on the Bible. All right. Whoa, when the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, see trees of green, red roses too. I see a blue, the end for you. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful audience participation. I want to tell you about oop oop a doo.